Hello, hello, hello. It has been quite some time since I have streamed live on my own channel. Feels good to be back. I have a lot of updates and things, but this is not the show for that. I have to mute myself now. There we go. Okay. So, this show came about because I've been doing the sci-vibe quotes every day, and I had a great conversation with Fu Finance a little while back, and he's very passionate about TikTok and doing content there and how that is the future. And I just don't. I just don't really TikTok that much. I the only reason I got a TikTok account is because I was already doing the quotes and I figured I might as well put them on TikTok as well. And so I've been very plain Jane TikToking. So I joined the group that Furu Finance made about TikTok, and there's a Telegram group, and I'll link that later. And I I went in there basically crying about how I'm not good at this and I don't really have time. I'm sure it won't take that long. In fact, my guest made a tutorial which I think I watched like 70% of and then got distracted. So that's my fault. So without further ado, basically in that chat, I'm in there crying about this, and my sweet guest was like, "Hey, check this out, do this thing." And then I was like, "Hey, let me talk. Let's talk more. Let's look into this. Let's do a thing together and talk about how we can better market on TikTok." So without further ado, I'm gonna bring up Ben DuBard. What's up?
Hello.
Hey, welcome
Thanks for
in.
having me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being my first guest on this new show. I didn't really go into that, but just real quickly, because I'm trying to make this a quick show. We'll see how that
Okay.
goes. So quickly, I decided to start this show called Building Bridges in Hexico. That's if you watch any of my content in the past, especially with this bus thing that I'm doing, that is a huge part of just my heart and who I am as a person. I love building bridges. I love connecting people. I love Hexico. So I wanted to do a show where I could bring someone on because my focus in the past has either been promoting women who haven't had a platform or aren't really that well known yet, and talking about sci-vive. So this is my first just kind of like, you know what? Let's just hang out with someone, have a chat, learn something, and learn a little bit about them. Um, just another way to build bridges and to uplift people in the community. So that's why it's called that. And that's why Ben is here, because he's going to teach us a little thing or two, perhaps, about himself, and then maybe a little bit about TikTok. But cliffhanger, the real like tutorial part is going to be on his channel on Friday morning at
9 a.m. Eastern
9 a.m.
time.
Eastern time. Okay.
So nice
Yes.
and early. But
Yeah.
I
Which
also
is
have a
nice. I
video
like
on my
that.
channel called How to Make a Andrew Tate Style Viral TikTok.
That's the one that I watched.
Yeah,
Part
and
of,
if you
most
don't
of.
know what that means, the title is kind of clickbait. I thought maybe I'd make that the title to kind of reach out if someone's like not in the Hex community, they'd see that and be like, "Oh, cool, let me learn how to make a Andrew Tate style viral TikTok." And then in the actual video, I show you how to go to hexsearch.io, I think it's called. And you can search keywords that Richard Hart has said. So, for example, if you watch that video, you can type in the word trading and it'll have like every time Richard Hart has ever said trading in any video. And then you could go find a good 1 minute clip and then, clip it on your computer, screen record it, which is super easy. And I show that. And then you can this is where people get confused. I think I had people on Twitter when I first made these. They're like, why is there irrelevant videos below Richard Hart talking? Because what you do, the Andrew Tate style viral TikTok is, it was Andrew Tate on the top saying stuff. And then on the bottom was like Grand Theft Auto 5 video game footage. Or there's like, what I've seen some people do is it'll be like, have you ever seen those like ASMR oddly satisfying clips? And it's something that really like gets your attention. So it'll be like a video of like soap being cut in like equal lines or like something like that, like something in a factory being like stamped, and it's like oddly satisfying. And it's like,
Mhm.
so your eyes are drawn to the video, but then your ears are listening to the message. And TikTok, especially, I'm not the TikTok expert, I would say. I really don't post that much. I kind of fell off, but I've made some videos, and I think it helps because like the attention span of people is like so small these days. I think not only because of TikTok, but because of just the internet in general, like a lot of like Twitter, whatever. So it's like if you just see some guy you've never heard of come up, you're like, oh, I don't care about this. But if you see like some butter being cut, you're like, ooh, and then you start listening and you're like, hey, I actually like what this guy's saying. Who's that? And then, so I think that's like the idea behind this whole, like, you get two videos going on the same thing. And I think that can sound confusing, but it's super easy to do if you use Canva. That's what I use is Canva. And
That's
then
good
there's a
to know.
website called
Okay.
video.ai, I think. And you literally just take the video you made on Canva, where you put the two videos together, you put it into that website, and it will automatically add captions for you. And then
Nice.
you can, if it got a word wrong in the captions, you can go in and just like edit it. So it's pretty simple, but it can be confusing for sure for the first
Yeah,
time. But
I think just, yeah, exactly. Just the first time, right? It's one of those things where it's like you just kind of have to get past that learning curve. And then it's
mm,
probably like super simple and, easy to do on repetition. So yeah, we'll dive into that on Friday on Ben's channel early in the morning. So be
yeah,
sure
I'll
to,
I'll show. I don't know, can pull up everything and show how it's done, and so
yeah, sounds awesome. So what I decided on this show is that I'm just going to ask three simple questions. If somehow your answers are real short, I do have extra questions. But yeah, I just wanted this to kind of be like a little, like, kind of get to know you, but they're, it's not the standard, how did you get into crypto? I do that. I ask those too sometimes, but I felt like it needed to be a little bit different, maybe a little more intimate, especially in terms of the first question. Um, and I'm glad that I got to hang out and watch your show before this. It was cool to kind of see like how you roll, what your format is, and what you're into. It was good to see you talking about, other influencers reading their comments and things like that. So I know that you know what Hexico is. Yes.
I guess so. Isn't it just like, Richard Hart talks about building a country, so it's like this idea. It's just an idea right now, I guess.
Basically, yeah, absolutely. And there are other community members who, some people will feel that they may say, like, I know a good handful of people that are living in Puerto Rico.
Mm.
So there's a whole, people feel like that's already Hexico. There are other members within like the Texan Hexican
Mm.
community
Mhm.
that have been talking about buying land and bringing people's like RVs together, having like a Hexico RV meetup kind of spot.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, my first question to you, and it's kind of open ended, right? Like maybe it could either be like if Richard was building it, like what do you think he would do, or if you were going to build Hexico, or it can be even more esoteric than that. Like to me, I'll just give a quick example. For me, Hexico is this. Hexico is us connecting with one another, building bridges, and really like getting to know each other as humans versus just like these avatars, behind a screen and things like that. Hexico is planning meetups and, getting out there and bringing more people into the community. So that's my super generic kind of esoteric answer. What would you
Nice.
say? What would you say to that? What is
So,
Hexico to you?
yeah, I think it's anywhere where there's a fair money system. It's like, so when you send me that a message, I was like, oh, I don't know, like what is Hexscope? And then I was like, that's kind of what I thought of. So, you know, I could go on a rant just like how it doesn't make any sense how the money just increases and we don't know by how much, and they change the metrics of how much, and you don't know who, the certain private shareholders of the Federal Reserve are who get all this money. The minimum wage in South Carolina where I live is, I think it's still 7.25 an hour, and that's what I made when I was 15 at Chick-fil-A. and I'm 25 now. And even
Wow.
then it was robbery because after taxes, it's like $5 or something. Like it was
That's
crazy. I was like, this
wretched.
is terrible. And I'm glad, it was my dad who got me into the Chick-fil-A job. He was like, I worked at a Wendy's when I was younger, and like it's a good thing to it's a good life experience. Not trying to talk down on people, but you go there when you're 15 and you see people who are like 50 working at the fast food place with you, and it kind of smacks you in the face of like, man, this job really sucks, and like I don't want to be 50 doing it. And you also look at the paycheck and you see all this money that you thought you were earning, and it's like going somewhere else, and you don't know where it's going, and you have no idea why it's going somewhere else, and you're told, hey, it's paying for the roads, but then there's a lot of potholes, and you're like, hey, I thought I was paying for these roads. Hey, where can I check to see where if my money's being properly allocated? Oh, well, you can't. So but if you don't, but it's just taken out of your check. So to me, it's like, money where, Hex is the only crypto where you can see the future market supply, which is pretty cool. You see everything's public, it's immutable. So the inflation isn't going to just randomly change, it's 3.69. You have the future market supply, it's public, you see what's going on. I mean, and I don't know if that's the perfect money. I don't know. I mean, especially not being on Ethereum for sure, but I don't know if crypto is the answer to everything. But I just, when I think of Hexico, I think of somewhere where like you're not getting robbed, I guess, every day by inflation and money printing. And it's like, and then people, I think, also are just gaslit and like manipulated to not even see that this is happening. And they sit around and they're
Yep.
like, oh, yeah, if I could just get I'm going to apply for this grant or this loan, and like, then I can, if I can only get a check from the government, then I can like, maybe then I can do this thing I really want to do, or, and it's like, it's just really sad. And it's just how the way the world is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that's why we're here.
yeah. But
So
what you
that's
said too,
actually,
I like
uh-huh.
as well. I
Thank
like
you.
your answer
Yeah.
also.
Thank you. That's actually a perfect segue to my next question, which is, well, let me say one thing real quick, or I'll just, yeah, I like this idea a lot too. Just having several hexicos all over the place. But with that impassioned response, my next question for you is, why do you do this? Why do you spend your time doing this instead of playing video games or watching? I mean, I'm sure you do other things, right? But and
Mm.
you're choosing to, none of us get paid, right? That's kind of a big thing right now, is like
Yeah.
all the whole
Right.
SEC thing, right? Why do you decide to choose to spend your time not getting paid, sitting in front of a camera talking to people about this? Like, what motivates you?
Um,
Or yeah.
Well, I would watch all these Hex streamers. Like, I think what I really watched all the time first was Quant Gang. That's really what I fell into. Um, so when I first got into Hex, I didn't really attach myself to any certain streamer. I saw them streaming like Hexologist and Crypto Coffee. But Quant Gang was really what I started like watching, and I was like, oh man, this is so cool. I like what these guys are saying. And I felt like sometimes I'd listen to certain people streaming and I thought, oh, I have my own perspective on this. And then some of Richard Hart's early videos, he talks about how, like, you know, this has no reference to to any of the people I would watch stream, but he says the stupidest people are the loudest, in the world. And I'm kind of like, I don't really enjoy, I don't know, like I didn't have social media for like 4 years, so I didn't really care. Like I had to get off of it because I was like, oh, this is like making me anxious and like I don't like it.
Mhm.
So I was like, Richard has a good point. We're like, maybe more rational, clear minded people need to speak up, and you're actually doing society a disservice by not speaking up. And I also like the idea of helping people and like talking with people and sharing my common interests. So outside of crypto, I love soccer. So you see, I have my soccer stuff back
Mhm.
here. So, you know, so I think just helping people is nice. Like people come in the chat and ask questions. I like doing that. Um, I've also kind of started my own like business, I guess, within crypto where I help people one on one, like with their security or whatever. Like people come to me. A big mistake people make is they don't realize they need a dummy wallet before their
Mm.
hardware wallet in MetaMask. So I get a lot of people who are like, hey, I need help doing something. And then I'm like, hey, you're actually not secured by your hardware wallet. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, you're like, they think they have a hardware wallet connected to their dummy wallet, which is like the wallet that has like a bunch of crypto in it. And it's not. So that's just an example. I've helped someone like taxes, I guess. So it's partially that too, like trying to like, because like you have to do something. Like, I think I did spend a good bit of time just playing a lot of video games
Mm-hmm.
when I went full time crypto, I guess you could say. And I was like, this feels pretty meaningless. I loved crypto, but no one in my family would really listen to me or care. So I started just doing like one-on-ones on a website called Superprof, and so that gave me like
Wow.
some purpose and some meaning. Like, oh look, I'm helping people, and I'm teaching, and everything I've learned in crypto is like the Ivan on Tech Academy, so like really good stuff there, but also Richard Hart. So I'm able to help a lot of people, just give them straight up what's going on in the crypto space, like not all this BS of like, oh, the Coinbase chain is coming and it's going to be great. And it's like, why would you
Right.
want to get on like a centralized exchanges layer two that I think we found out is like KYC? Now it's probably going to be KYC, and like it's like fake DeFi, and like, so just like the true principles of why crypto exists and stuff. I'm able to teach people, and that's nice, just being able to help people. So yeah.
That's awesome. Like that is, I mean, what a heart. I like legit kind of like welled up for a second there, especially when you were talking about, the transition between, and I know Richard would agree with that in terms of, feeling like the video games was a time sink, right? Like
Mm.
he struggled with that a lot. He talks about that in Sci-Vive. So, the fact that you saw your time kind of just wasting away and were like, I don't feel meaning in this. And then you went to this site just to do one-on-ones. I mean, tell me again what the site was that you were on.
So it's called superprof.com. And
Okay.
it's literally like, you might go there if you have kids and want to find them like a math tutor.
Hmm.
It's like just a generic tutoring website, because I had like tutoring experience, like kind of like teaching experience in the past. So I was like, maybe I can work as a crypto tutor on
Nice.
for a company, but there is like nowhere is doing that.
Yeah.
So this website, you can just make an account, and there's a bunch of people doing it on this website. And so I just made it first lesson free and $10 an hour. And I was like, it's not really about the money. It's more about just like doing something.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, so I was doing it for free, getting like $10. And then people were like, I'm going to pay you more, and just started telling me they're going to pay me more. I was like, okay, sweet. So I've upped it. And so, but yeah, I'm still on the website, but I have my own website now that I've kind of like made, or I
There you
got
go.
made.
Moving on up. What is it? What's your website? Shill it.
BenDuBard.com.
Easy. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. And the last question. Look at this. We're doing good on time and everything. It's good stuff. Is what? Oh, wait. I forgot. Oh, right. Okay. The last question. And this, I like this question because I also am starting another new endeavor, which will I'll talk about it at some point eventually. It's kind of spicy. But in this endeavor, I will be talking to people who do not know crypto, are not in it, right? Because I've been in the rabbit hole, right, for the last year because
Yeah.
unless you know firstly what Hex is, secondly who Richard Hart is, and thirdly that he's written a book, you don't know who I am because that's all I talk about is sci-fi.
Right.
So you have to go way down the rabbit hole to find me. So I've definitely been in the Hexico chamber in the Hexico world for this last
Mhm.
year for sure. And the only people I've talked to outside of that for, in terms of getting them into crypto is just close friends and family. Right. So
Mhm.
I'm ready and hopeful for two different avenues, right? There's a platform that I'm going to go on that is not crypto related. And I'll be talking about Hex there. And then once I'm done with Sci-Vive, which should be within the next couple weeks in terms of like my part of it, um, I'm going to be doing a lot more content on just traveling, DIY stuff, things like that, trying to bring other people into the community
Cool.
in terms of that. So all that to say, one of the things that I think I want to keep fresh in my mind, and I think is good kind of content that, evergreen content, right, is for people who just don't get crypto, right? Or they just can't wrap their minds around how you could put your money into something that's not real, right? What's your argument to that, or what makes crypto real to you?
Um, I guess like most of the stuff, the argument I guess would be like, I think like the majority of dollars are digital now. A lot of these stocks are just like, I think Richard Hart says like, oh, you used to get like the actual stock certificate from the place, and then now they just like, you have a broker and he says you have it, but then you don't. So it's all just like in fake numbers, basically. So really, like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not super in the business of convincing people to get into crypto, so that one's kind
Mhm.
of hard for me. I don't think I'm the best at that. Like, it's hard. It's hard to argue it. Like, it's not real. It's like the I don't know. It can totally depend on the person, because like you might tell someone, oh well, the mad gains are real, and then they say, oh well, that's gambling. So then it's like you have this like runaround of like, I don't
Mm.
know. It can really depend on the person. It's kind of hard. Um, so, but what makes crypto real to me, I think, is like, I think this is, this could kind of be why there's confusion with people is like, oh, you have crypto on Robinhood. How is it any different than a stock then if you can buy it on Robinhood? So people don't understand what real crypto is, which is something that's
Mm.
like transparent, it's on chain, you know. That's what's so crazy. It's always blowing my mind with Hex. Like you have these guys like Silver the Antidote, I think recently was like watching, oh look, who's this guy who bought 1,000 ETH worth of Hex? Oh, let me go track his wallet and see like what his deal is. Like and there's all these other guys too. I think Hextronaut does a lot of chain analysis too, where he's like, oh, this guy's got these stakes ending. I think it's really cool. I do think one day, inevitably, if Hex gets super big and it is on centralized exchanges, we are going to have the situation of like fake Hex being sold to
Oh,
people.
for sure.
Like it's just inevitable. But for
Hmm.
now, it's pretty awesome. And that won't change the fact that people can still always go stake their own Hex with their own keys on any of this. There's like so many Hex staking front ends, which is also cool. You have so many different places to go to do it. Um, the coded inflation, you can see the future market supply. I think it's immutable, like it's locked, like it's not going to change. No one's going to go in and, oh, actually, sorry, like it's not going to do the same thing it's been doing anymore. We just decided to change it because the government came and said, hey, change the code in that contract. Oh, yeah, okay, we're going to change it, government. Just like, I guess, the MakerDAO kind of thing that just happened where the government was like, you have to use your admin key to like take these funds back from a hacker or something. I think that's what just happened. So, the no admin key thing, this is all it's like you said, it's like stuff, like it's down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
If you get into
Yeah,
Hex, you're like,
absolutely.
it's like the common path into crypto is like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. The banks are going to use XRP and it's only a few cents, and Bitcoin and Ethereum are in the thousands. Oh, like this is the one. And like a lot of people, I guess, stop there. They just buy Bitcoin and ETH, or they get Dogecoin or whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well said, for sure. It's interesting. The first thing you said about how it's real, or the first argument you made was exactly what I had said just a couple days ago when I had this conversation, was the fact that most dollars are digital now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I basically was like, well, let's say that, your bank's electronic system went down, and all those numbers that they had of how many dollars were in your bank account, all of a sudden that disappeared, right? Like,
Yeah.
how is any of that real? How, like bye money forever. It's not like you have a box in your bank and they have every single dollar sitting in your little box. That's not how it works. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then, like you were saying, it's just as you get more crypto educated, you start to learn what DeFi is, what real DeFi is, and then, why we love Hex so much. So That is fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. I want to try and keep this one kind of short. So those
Cool.
were my 3 questions. It was great to get to know you a little bit. I am looking forward to Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. I'll be there.
Yes.
I keep having to remind myself. But
Yeah, that'll be fun. I think, everyone listening, I think that'll be like an hour. I don't know. I'm calling it either it's a new thing I'm doing. It's either going to be called the Moon Talk or the Moonterview.
I heard you
Which
talking about that. I'm
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, Moonterview doesn't hit for me.
Okay. Yeah,
I'd like it. I
I'll
think it is
figure it out.
cute and creative. I don't know. I feel like there's gotta be somewhere, some good medium or some other in between something
Yeah.
moon something.
Well, it's going to be
It'll work.
something moon, and then
I
we're going to
like
sit
that a
and talk
lot.
and have a moon background.
Moon
That'll be
background. I
pretty
like
cool.
that a lot.
So
Moonterview.
So I can ask you questions as well, and I'll
Yeah.
show the Canva, TikTok exactly what I mean and how easy it is too. It's like drop and drag. You don't have to be a
Perfect.
Photoshop person or whatever. So,
That's the sad part is I actually have a degree in photography.
oh man.
But this is I mean, like, I have a very youthful look. I did darkroom photography. Oh dear.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Not in well, in college it was half and half. I did half darkroom and then we switched to digital. But
I don't
anyways,
really know what that means, but I
darkroom
don't know what
darkroom
dark room.
photography.
No.
Oh, that makes me feel old. So back in the day there was film and you had to develop your own film from the back of the camera. Oh man.
Oh, okay. Well, I know what that is. I think I saw that in Stranger Things. I knew what it was before that, but
How funny. That's funny. Morning moon show. I like the idea of some play on it being in the morning because it's a moon show, but you're doing it early in the
your morning
morning.
moon show could be good. The morning Moonterview.
Morning that's a mouthful. Morning moonterview. Super
Yeah, I'll
cool. I
figure it
feel like
out.
there were a couple other things I was gonna say. Go ahead and shameless plug all your things, and then I'll shameless plug all my things.
Okay. I'm on Twitter at Ben DuBard, as you see here. YouTube, Ben DuBard. My website is bendubard.com. TikTok, Ben DuBard. And then that's pretty much it. So yeah, check out my stuff. I have some helpful YouTube videos, I think. I try to make stuff for like people who are new because basically I would make videos that were about things my friends who aren't into crypto were asking me about PulseChain and PulseX. So if you're new or you have friends who are like asking you like, dude, what is PulseChain and like how do I do this or that or what is this? My videos might be helpful. So
Sweet. Excellent. I am a wild SJ, all the places, including this is like super breaking news that I'm not really going to talk about this or post it much anywhere else right now. But if you're watching this right now and you want to check out the spicy, there's an app called Clover and I'm about to go stream there. So it's an interesting new place. And
mm,
I'm going to try and talk to people about crypto there. So
cool.
check that out. And then my biggest wish is for more patrons. Follow me on
Nice.
Patreon. I'm going to start doing a lot more content there. And I want to start providing a lot of value in terms of different things within the community. So check all that
Cool.
out. Ben, it's been awesome. Super cool having you on. Again, looking forward to Friday. And thanks for being a kind of a guinea pig with my new show here. I appreciate you.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good rest of your night. Take care,
You too.
everyone. Bye. I can press the buttons.